Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A formal recommendation by a former employer to a potential future employer describing the person's qualifications and dependability. Requests for character references are all too often answered evasively. A person of a specified kind, usually with many eccentricities. A real character. The inherent complex of attributes that determines a person's moral and ethical actions and reactions. Education has for its object the formation of character. An imaginary person represented in a work of fiction, play or film or story. She is the main character in the novel. A written symbol that is used to represent speech. The Greek alphabet has 24 characters. A characteristic property that defines the apparent individual nature of something. The radical character of our demands. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. Engrave or inscribe characters on. Genetics. An attribute, structural or functional, that is determined by a gene or group of genes. Good repute. He is a man of character. A formal recommendation by a former employer to a potential future employer describing the person's qualifications and dependability. Requests for character references are all too often answered evasively. A formal recommendation by a former employer to a potential future employer describing the person's qualifications and dependability. Requests for character references are all too often answered evasively. A publication, or a passage from a publication, that is referred to. He carried an armful of references back to his desk. The act of referring or consulting. Reference to an encyclopedia produced the answer. A short note recognizing a source of information or of a quoted passage. The most direct or specific meaning of a word or expression. The class of objects that an expression refers to. A remark that calls attention to something or someone. The speaker made several references to his wife. Computer science. The code that identifies where a piece of information is stored. A book to which you can refer for authoritative facts. He contributed articles to the basic reference work on that topic. Refer to. He referenced his colleague's work. An indicator that orients you generally. It is used as a reference for comparing the heating and the electrical energy involved. The relation between a word or phrase and the object or idea it refers to. He argued that reference is a consequence of conditioned reflexes. A specific size and style of type within a type family. An enveloping structure or covering enclosing an animal or plant organ or part. The enclosing frame around a door or window opening. A person of a specified kind, usually with many eccentricities. A mental case. Printing. The receptacle in which a compositor has his type, which is divided into compartments for the different letters, spaces, or numbers. For English, a compositor will ordinarily have two such cases, the uppercase containing the capitals and the lowercase containing the small letters. The quantity contained in a case. The housing or outer covering of something. The clock has a walnut case. Bed linen consisting of a cover for a pillow. The burglar carried his loot in a pillowcase. A special set of circumstances. It may rain, in which case the picnic will be cancelled. An occurrence of something. It was a case of bad judgment. Enclose in, or as if in, a case. My feet were encased in mud. Nouns or pronouns are adjectives, often marked by inflection, related in some way to other words in a sentence. A comprehensive term for any proceeding in a court of law whereby an individual seeks a legal remedy. A person who is subjected to experimental or other observational procedures. Someone who is an object of investigation. The cases that we studied were drawn from two different communities. A glass container used to store and display items in a shop or museum or home. A person requiring professional services. A typical case was the suburban housewife described by a marriage counselor. A portable container for carrying several objects. The musicians left their instrument cases backstage. A problem requiring investigation. Perry Mason solved the case of the missing heir. A specific state of mind that is temporary. A case of the jitters. A statement of facts and reasons used to support an argument. He stated his case clearly. Look over, usually with the intention to rob. They men cased the house. The actual state of things. That was not the case. A person of a specified kind, usually with many eccentricities. A friendly eccentric. Not having a common center, not concentric. Eccentric circles. Conspicuously or grossly unconventional or unusual. Famed for his eccentric spelling. A person with an unusual or odd personality. A person of a specified kind, usually with many eccentricities. The capable type. Identify as belonging to a certain type. Such people can practically be typed. Write by means of a keyboard with types. Type the acceptance letter, please. All of the tokens of the same symbol. The word element contains 5 different types of character. A small metal block bearing a raised character on one end produces a printed character when inked and pressed on paper. He dropped a case of type, so they made him pick them up. A subdivision of a particular kind of thing. What type of sculpture do you prefer? Biology, the taxonomic group whose characteristics are used to define the next higher taxon. Printed characters. Small type is hard to read. Any of several elongated, thread-like cells, especially a muscle fiber or a nerve fiber. The inherent complex of attributes that determines a person's moral and ethical actions and reactions. A slender and greatly elongated substance capable of being spun into yarn. Coarse, indigestible plant food low in nutrients. Its bulk stimulates intestinal peristalsis. A leather-like material made by compressing layers of paper or cloth. Any of several elongated, thread-like cells, especially a muscle fiber or a nerve fiber. The inherent complex of attributes that determines a person's moral and ethical actions and reactions. A slender and greatly elongated substance capable of being spun into yarn. A leather-like material made by compressing layers of paper or cloth. An imaginary person represented in a work of fiction, play or film or story. An imaginary person represented in a work of fiction, play or film or story. Represent by means of a graph. A visual representation of the relations between certain quantities, represented as points, plotted with reference to a set of axes. A written symbol that is used to represent speech. A visual display of information. Plot upon a graph. A written symbol that is used to represent speech. A written symbol that is used to represent speech. A characteristic property that defines the apparent individual nature of something. The characteristic parts of a person's face: eyes and nose and mouth and chin. His lineaments were very regular. Music. The distinctive property of a complex sound, a voice or noise or musical sound. A degree or grade of excellence or worth. The quality of students has risen. A characteristic property that defines the apparent individual nature of something. Each town has a quality all its own. Of superior grade. Quality paper. An essential and distinguishing attribute of something or someone. The quality of mercy is not strained. High social status. A man of quality. Of high social status. People of quality. The effort contributed by a person in bringing about a result. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. The government must do its part. To some extent, in some degree, not wholly. I felt partly to blame. Assets belonging to or due to or contributed by an individual person or group. A portion of a natural object. They analyzed the river into 3 parts. Something less than the whole of a human artifact. The rear part of the house. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The written part of the exam. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The business partners broke over a tax question. The melody carried by a particular voice or instrument in polyphonic music. He tried to sing the tenor part. Force, take, or pull apart. Moses parted the Red Sea. An item that is an instance of some type. My dog swallowed a Lego part. A line of scalp that can be seen when sections of hair are combed in opposite directions. His part was right in the middle. Leave. The extended spatial location of something. Religions in all parts of the world. Go one's own way. Move apart. The friends separated after the party. Something determined in relation to something that includes it. He wanted to feel a part of something bigger than himself. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. She played the part of Desdemona. Come apart. That which concerns a person with regard to a particular role or situation. It requires vigilance on our part. Jungian psychology, a personal facade that one presents to the world. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. The actions and activities assigned to or required or expected of a person or group. Play its role. What something is used for. An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. Normal or customary activity of a person in a particular social setting. What is your role on the team? An actor's portrayal of someone in a play. Something given or done as an expression of esteem. Something that serves as evidence. Something that recommends, or expresses commendation of, a person or thing as worthy or desirable. Expressing admiration or appreciation. Testimonial dinner. Of or relating to or constituting testimony. Any quality or characteristic that gains a person a favorable reception or acceptance or admission. Her pleasant personality is already a recommendation. Something that recommends, or expresses commendation of, a person or thing as worthy or desirable. Something, as a course of action, that is recommended as advisable. Something that recommends, or expresses commendation of, a person or thing as worthy or desirable. Good news. Designed to arouse lust. Adult movies. A fully developed person from maturity onward. Of animals, fully developed. An adult animal. Any mature animal. A fully developed person from maturity onward. Of animals, fully developed. A distinguishing feature of your personal nature. A creature of the imagination. A person that exists only in legends or myths or fiction. A creature of the imagination. A person that exists only in legends or myths or fiction. A written or printed symbol. A written or printed symbol. A construct whereby objects or individuals can be distinguished. Decide as to where something belongs in a scheme. Attribute or credit to. We attributed this quotation to Shakespeare. An abstraction belonging to or characteristic of an entity. A construct whereby objects or individuals can be distinguished. Magnitude or extent. Indicate the dimensions on. These techniques permit us to dimension the human heart. One of 3 Cartesian coordinates that determine a position in space. Shape or form to required dimensions. The magnitude of something in a particular direction, especially length or width or height.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.